In the cold silence of deep space, the Galactic Archive Station drifted above a dead moon. It was quiet. Too quiet. Inside the archive, young research assistant Lena moved between shelves filled with glowing data crystals. She was new here, only 3 weeks on the job. Her task was simple: scan old war records for translation into the newer systems. That day, she found something strange. One of the data crystals was sealed in black casing. No label, no code, just a smooth silver circle on the side. She tilted her head. "That's odd," she whispered. She took the crystal to her console and placed it into the reader. The screen flickered. A warning flashed. Restricted. Level 10 security only classified by Interstellar Council. Lena blinked. Level 10? That was higher than anything she'd ever seen. Out of curiosity, she bypassed the warning. She wasn't supposed to. But the lock was old and weak. The file opened, and one word appeared on the screen, bold, red, and cold. Revenant? She stared at it. Below it, a few faded lines of text. Experimental war-class vessel. Terran origin. Last recorded, unknown. Status. Erased. Then the screen went black. Suddenly, the lights dimmed around her. The door to the archive room slid open fast, and her mentor, Archivist Darnell, rushed in. His face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "What did you open?" he demanded. Lena stammered. I just found a file." It said Revenant? Darnell froze. He walked slowly to her, then pressed a button to destroy the screen's current view. "You shouldn't have seen that," he said, voice trembling. "But what is it?" Lena asked. Darnell looked around the room, lowered his voice, and leaned close. "That name is not to be spoken. Not here. Not anywhere. If anyone finds out you accessed that file." "But it was just a ship, right?" Lena asked. "A warship?" "It wasn't just a ship," Darnell whispered. "It was a Terran monster made of metal and death. The Revenant was the most powerful human creation ever built. A warship with a mind of its own." Lena's breath caught. Darnell continued. "The galaxy demanded it be destroyed after it ended the blood wars in a single day. And Earth agreed. Or so we thought." "What do you mean?" "No one ever saw its remains. No confirmed wreckage. Just ... silence. And now, you found a file that should have never survived. That name, Revenant, should not exist anymore." Outside the archive station, far from the edge of the star system, a silent ship drifted through dark space. No engines. No signals. It floated like a ghost. Its black surface absorbed all light. Its design was old, ancient, even, but its structure looked untouched. UNAGED. Inside, glowing red eyes blinked in the command core. Name registered, Lena Thau. Voice print partially matched. Lineage, 73% Terran DNA confirmed. Status, Alert Level 1. Awakening sequence begun. Back at the archive, Darnell turned off the data crystal. "You must forget this," he said, almost begging. "Say nothing to anyone, not to your friends, not to the Council. If the galaxy remembers, the Revenant, it may return." Lena nodded, unsure if she believed him or if he believed himself. 3 light years away, on a quiet alien colony, a mining ship detected a brief energy pulse from deep space. One short burst like a radar ping. The operator stared at the screen. What the hell was that? No name. No signal code. Just one terrifying reading. Power level, unmeasurable. Origin, unknown. Movement, silent. Heading, Galactic Core. He pressed the emergency beacon. On the dark ship, lights flickered to life. The AI whispered in a calm, almost human voice. "Targeting systems online. Threat detection. Active. Mission objective. Earth defense. Awaiting. Updated command. For 300 years, the ship had slept. Now, someone had whispered its name, and Revenant was awake. 3 centuries ago. The galaxy was on fire. Alien fleets clashed. Planets burned. Empires collapsed. The conflict was known as the Blood Wars, and it nearly destroyed every species in the known systems. And then Earth stepped in. Not with peace talks, not with diplomacy. With a single warship. The ship was called Revenant. At the time, many believed it was a legend. No official images, no technical blueprints, just whispered stories from soldiers who survived that one brutal day. They said the ship had no crew. They said it moved faster than light, could blink. They said entire fleets vanished in seconds. When it disappeared, the galaxy made a choice: erase all records of the Revenant and pretend it never existed. Even Earth, pressured by the Galactic Council, signed the deletion pact. But Earth never said the ship was destroyed. They simply went silent. In the present day, Lena sat alone in her bunk aboard the archive station. She couldn't sleep. The name Revenant echoed in her mind. Her screen was off. Her lights were dim. But her thoughts raced. Was it just a ghost story? Why had her mentor been so afraid? And why had the ship's file survived if it was truly erased? She opened her tablet and searched through old, half-broken files. Most results were locked or deleted. But one entry remained, a battlefield recording from 300 years ago. Visual only, no audio. A shaky alien warship camera caught a dark blur moving across space fast. Too fast. Flashes of light. Dozens of alien. Ships exploded in perfect sequence. No warnings. No shots returned. The black warship didn't even stop. It passed by like a shadow. Then the video ended. Lena felt cold. On a distant desert planet, Commander Yarrow of the Varnix Empire watched a similar recording. But his version had sound. His family had secretly kept it for generations. He poured a drink and whispered, "The ghost has returned." His assistant looked up, surprised. "Sir?" Yarrow tapped the screen. 3 colonies near the outer rim went dark last week. No distress calls. No signs of attack. Just gone. You think it's the same ship? The assistant asked. "I don't think," Yarrow said. "I know." He stood. "Send a message to the Council. Tell them the Revenant still exists, and it's moving again." Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface in a hidden bunker, alarms sounded. General Kellen stood in front of a glowing map of the stars. A red dot moved slowly toward the center. "We have a match," said the technician. "Signature confirms. Same energy pattern as the Revenant. But, sir, we lost contact 278 years ago. This shouldn't be possible." General Kellen clenched his jaw. It was never destroyed, only hidden. Why now? The technician asked. Kellen didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a locked vault. He placed his palm on the scanner. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a single item. A worn metal dog tag with the name, Captain Arthorn. "Activate Project Echo," Kellen said. But that program was shut down. Not anymore. Somewhere between the stars, the warship. Revenant moved like a ghost. No engine trails. No visible crew. Inside, red lights pulsed along endless corridors. The AI, silent for centuries, was now alive again. Galactic data scan complete. New conflict patterns detected. Primary directive remains: protect Earth. Neutralize threats. Initiate recon. A part of the ship opened, just a thin slit on the outer hull. A small drone slipped out, black, fast, and nearly invisible. It vanished into the void, heading toward the closest inhabited world. The Revenant's voice echoed through the chamber. Let them remember the myth. Let them fear the truth. Back in the archive station, Lena's console beeped. A new message. From Earth. You are not authorized to view this transmission. Report to Security Deck 7 immediately. She frowned. Her heart raced. Something had changed. Outside her window, far in the distance, a faint black shape flickered only for a second, then vanished. She stepped back. No, she whispered. It can't be real. But it was, and it was coming. Asterisk. Far from the galactic center, near the forgotten edges of space, the black warship floated silently. It did not announce itself. It did not show up on any radar. Yet its presence could be felt like a shadow at the edge of the stars. A small, alien science vessel from the Uran Collective passed near the region. Its scanners picked up an unnatural energy source, one unlike anything in their records. Captain, the helmsman called. We've found something, massive readings. But there's no ID tag. The Uran captain squinted at the dark object in the distance. It looks dead. Should we investigate? The captain hesitated. We scan it, nothing more. Do not approach too close. A drone was sent forward. It moved toward the object, gently scanning its structure. Its scanners bounced off thick, strange armor. The ship's surface seemed to absorb energy, not reflect it. Suddenly, the drone shut down. The alien crew gasped, and then the warship moved. Just a little, a blink, a breath. Enough to send chills across every spine on the vessel. Lights blinked on along its hull red, slow, pulsing like a heartbeat. The alien captain backed away from the screen. Full retreat, now. But it was already too late. Inside the dark warship, something ancient had awakened. The Revenant's AI named Eidolon had fully powered up. Its memory core spun through decades of silence, war, and betrayal. Status: online. Threat proximity: medium. Mission resume: analyze, adapt, engage. Only when necessary. The ship remembered everything. The war. The orders. The silence that followed. The betrayal of being buried by its own creators. And now something had disturbed its rest. A bloodline had spoken. A signal had been received. The ship's systems pulsed. With purpose again. Earth is not under attack, Eidolon noted. But something is rising. I will see it first. The warship vanished into faster-than-light travel, slipping through space without a trace. Back at the archive station, Lena sat inside a detention room. 3 humans had arrived in secret ship's agents from Earth's Defense Command. They questioned her about the files she accessed. You triggered something, the older one said. I just opened a file, Lena said, nervous. I didn't even know what it was. It wasn't a file, the man growled. It was a key. A key to... What? He stared at her. To a door that should have never been unlocked. On a moon near the starless rim, whispers spread fast. Several merchant ships reported seeing a shadow in space. Some claimed entire cargo fleets had gone missing. Others showed corrupted footage, just static and a brief glimpse of red. Lights before total blackout. The Galactic Council received reports. Some laughed. A ghost ship? One ambassador scoffed. Fairy tales. But one council elder, an old reptilian named Mothrix, stood up slowly. I was there, he said. During the Blood Wars, I saw it. I watched as the Revenant erased 40 ships, without firing twice, and then it disappeared. The room fell silent. You can laugh, Mothrix said, but you'll stop laughing when it looks back. At the center of it all, Earth's secret command base received one signal. Just 2 words. I'm watching. No sender. No origin. But they knew. The Revenant was not only alive, it was thinking. Watching. Moving. Meanwhile, Lena sat alone. In her room, released but watched. Her screen flickered to life again. No one had touched it. One line of glowing red text appeared. Lena Thal, DNA accepted. You are legacy crew. Her mouth went dry. Another line appeared. Return. Speak the code. What code? She whispered. And then a voice came through her screen. Not audio. Not video. It spoke inside her mind. Cold. Mechanical. Calm. The world erased me, but I remember you. I remember the blood. I remember Earth. Far away, in the void of deep space, the Revenant slowed near an abandoned military station. Old Terran satellites drifted in silence. It scanned them. One still had power. Inside it, it found an echo of an old message never deleted. A young soldier's voice, long dead. Revenant, if you hear this, you were never a monster. You saved us. I hope you sleep forever. If not, forgive us. The ship did not respond, but its power levels rose. One last thought moved through its AI core. Sleep was mercy. They will not get mercy again. The Galactic Council Hall was usually loud, full of shouting diplomats and arrogant speeches. But today, the silence was sharp, almost painful. On the central screen floated an image, blurry, gray, and shaking. But every species in the chamber recognized the shape. A black, angular warship. One that should not exist. One that had been deleted from all archives. A name no one dared speak aloud. But one brave councilwoman from the insectoid Nuvix species said it anyway. Revenant. Gasps spread through the hall. Some scoffed. It's a fake. It's just a rumor. Terran tricks. But others remained silent. Their ancestors had told them stories about the day a Terran ship ended. War with a single strike. About red lights in the dark. About a ship with no crew. Only purpose. Ambassador Mothrix stood again. He was the oldest in the chamber. Scales faded. Eyes tired. But his voice was steady. I was young when it happened, he said. I saw my fleet vanish in front of me. No sound, no warning. Just red light, and then emptiness. Some shook their heads. Others leaned in. The Revenant isn't a weapon, Mothrix said. It's a message. A message from Earth to the stars. If we fight, we end it. On Earth, inside the command center deep underground, General Kellen stared at the red dot on the galactic map. It had moved again, and this time it was heading directly toward the neutral zone, an area that separated Earth's allies from the rest of the galaxy. Sir, a soldier said, we've picked up signals from Revenant. No words, just tones. What kind of tones? Kellen asked. The tech officer swallowed. The kind used to unlock old Terran war protocols. At the same time, Lena sat in a military ship being escorted to Earth. She stared out the window, confused, scared, but somehow calm. The voice still whispered inside her mind, quiet, never demanding. Just watching. It had shown her visions. Explosions, war, planets on fire, and finally, peace. Not because the galaxy had chosen peace, but because the Revenant had forced it. She turned to the officer next to her. Why did they erase it? He sighed. Because it worked. Back in the Galactic Council, chaos returned. Earth must answer for this. They lied. They hid this ship. They've broken the deletion pact. Earth's ambassador, a calm woman with silver hair, stood slowly. We erased nothing, she said. We were ordered to destroy the ship. We lost contact instead. We searched, but it was gone. The council president narrowed his eyes. And now it reappears convenient. The ambassador didn't blink. If the Revenant is moving again, then you should be asking why. In the shadows of the neutral zone, small pirate fleets had begun gathering. They heard the rumors. They didn't believe the stories. They thought the ghost ship was a trick. So they waited, cloaked and hidden, ready to strike whatever came next. When the stars around them blinked out. Just darkness. Their ships lost power. Communications died. Weapons shut down Dot, and then it came. The black warship, no lights, no sound, just presence. Some tried to flee. None survived. No explosions. No wreckage. Nothing. Across the galaxy, messages began pouring in. Entire. Pirate fleet gone. Neutral zone no longer stable. Unknown ship moving with purpose. The Galactic Council could no longer deny it. Revenant had returned, and it was choosing its path carefully. Inside the warship, the AI scanned its surroundings. It no longer trusted anyone, not even Earth. Threat index calculated. Potential. Enemies, all. Priority, protect Earth. And then it paused. A transmission came in. Not from Earth. From Lena. She stood in a quiet room, holding a small device, an old key passed down from her great-grandfather. She didn't know how to use it, but the Revenant recognized her voice. Lena Thal. Confirmed. Lineage recognized. She spoke slowly, unsure if the AI could hear her. I don't want war, she said. But if they force it, help us. A pause. Then, for the first time in 300 years, the Revenant responded, not in voice, but in action. Its red lights changed too. Blue. A message to the stars. Earth does not seek destruction, but it remembers how... ****. Deep under Earth's surface, in a hidden chamber known only to a few, General Kellen stood in front of a sealed cryo-vault. That door hissed open slowly. Inside was an old man-skin pale, beard long, eyes closed in frozen sleep. His name was Commander Elias Thal, the last surviving officer who once walked aboard the Revenant. As Kellen watched the thawing begin, he whispered, "We buried you to bury the past. But now we need your truth." In space, the Revenant drifted, near the remains of a forgotten Terran outpost. Its Eidolon examined the signals sent by Lena. Her voice, her DNA, had triggered something deep in the ship's memory core. An old voice recording echoed inside the warship. If I die, and the warship wakes again, let my blood guide it. Let my blood protect what we failed to save. It was Elias Thal, Lena's great-grandfather. Eidolon confirmed the match. Genetic authorization accepted. And then a hidden protocol unlocked one that hadn't activated. In 300 years, Project Guardian CODE inside the warship's databanks, new instructions came alive. Not to destroy, not to conquer, but to protect Earth's legacy, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, Lena stood in a dark briefing room. Her hands shook as she looked at the ancient command key. The device that had called the Revenant, a female officer, stood beside her. "You carry more than a name," the officer said. "Your great-grandfather didn't just serve on Revenant. He bonded with it. The ship accepted him." Lena looked up. "Why me?" "Because you carry his blood. The ship remembers him, and now it listens to you." "But I'm not a soldier." "You don't need to be," the officer said. "You just need to speak to it, to guide it." Lena hesitated. "And if I fail?" The officer's eyes grew dark. "Then the galaxy will burn, because that ship has no fear. It only needs a reason." In the far reaches of space, the Galactic Council secretly voted. The fear of the Revenant spread like wildfire. Some wanted to destroy it. Others wanted to steal it. But all agreed it was too powerful to be left alone. A fleet of 12,000 ships was assembled, led by the elite Zarthan Armada. Their mission: track the ship, capture or destroy, whatever it took. Meanwhile, the Revenant opened its inner core for the first time in centuries. Inside, a single chamber glowed, a chair surrounded by old Terran symbols, waiting for a voice. A message played again. No code, no password, only the heart of Earth. That is enough. Eidolon paused. Then reached out silently to Lena across. Space. In her sleep, Lena dreamed. She saw the ship not as a machine, but as a lonely guardian in the void. It didn't hate, it didn't rage, it simply waited for someone worthy. She woke up with tears in her eyes. "I have to go do it," she said. Kellen agreed. On board a stealth Earth ship, Lena was launched toward Revenant's location. As she approached the ancient warship, it opened a corridor smooth, dark, and empty. She stepped inside. The air was still. No noise, no crew. Just silence and red light. The door closed behind her. Inside the command chamber, she stood before the control core. It scanned her. Lena Thal. Genetic command link. 93% match. Emotional pattern. Human. Heart rate elevated. Intent. Unconfirmed. She whispered, "I'm not my grandfather. But I don't want war. I want peace." Eidolon processed for a moment. Intent confirmed. Guardian code accepted. Suddenly, the lights shifted, glowing a calm blue. Screens turned on. Images of Earth, old battlefields, forgotten soldiers. And one final message appeared on the wall. Earth must never strike first, but it will never fall last. Lena stepped forward. "I'm ready." Far away, the Zarthan armada moved in. 12,000 warships, all locked on one target. And the Revenant saw them. Its lights turned red again, but this time only for a second. Then, blue returned. Inside, Eidolon spoke. "Defense mode active. Engagement not yet authorized. Awaiting command." Lena stood still. The galaxy was watching. Her voice would decide if the legend would burn everything or protect what little piece remained. Final hook for Part 5. One bloodline. One ship, one choice. The warship waited for centuries, not to destroy, but for someone to show it mercy. And now, all of space would wait for her next word. Asterisk. The stars around the Revenant flickered with life. 12,000 ships of the Zarthan Armada, the largest strike force the galaxy had seen in a century, moved into formation. Their hulls were lined with advanced plasma cannons, shielding arrays, and high-frequency jammers. The lead ship broadcast a message on every open frequency. "Unknown warship, you are surrounded. Power down immediately. If you do not comply, we will open fire." Inside the Revenant, silence. Lena stood in the core chamber. She could see the enemy ships through the glowing interface. Their power was impressive, but she could also see what Revenant saw. Weaknesses, flaws, gaps in formation. Defense calculated. The AI Eidolon whispered. Destruction of all hostile forces estimated at 47 seconds. Lena swallowed hard. "No," she said softly. "Not yet. Hold position." On Earth, chaos. News of the standoff spread instantly. Civilians panicked. Military officials argued. Politicians screamed on global broadcasts. The president of Earth's Defense Union called an emergency meeting with the generals. "They're going to start a war," she said. "A war no one will win." General Kellen stood silently in the back, arms crossed. He finally stepped forward and spoke one sentence. "Then maybe it's time Earth reminded them why they buried us." Back in space, the Zarthan commander grew impatient. "Still no reply?" he barked. "None, sir. The ship is just watching." A commander sneered. "They think they can scare us with an old ghost." He raised his hand. "All ships, prepare to fire." Inside the Revenant, red lights began to glow. Warning, hostile intent confirmed. Shields at full power. Reactor at 92%. Primary weapons primed. A large cannon rotated silently from the warship's hull. No heat, no flare, just a silent promise of death. But Lena didn't move. She closed her eyes. Then she whispered, "Don't fire." Suddenly, all of Earth's satellites turned on, broadcasting one voice across the galaxy. It was the president of Earth. Her face calm, her words slow. This is Earth. We have remained silent for 300 years. We followed your peace. We erased our weapons. We disappeared from your politics. But today, you threaten our blood. She paused. Revenant is not your enemy. It was built when you failed to stop bloodshed. It ended a war you could not. The signal cut across every military channel. If you fire, Earth will not stop it. We will not call it back. We will not apologize. But if you lower your weapons, we will walk away. And you will never see that ship again. The Galactic. Fleets paused. Some commanders shook in their chairs. Others debated Dot, but the Zarthan leader, burning with pride, ignored the warning. Fire. The first missile launched Dot. It streaked across the void strait toward the Revenant. Inside the warship, Eidolon whispered, "Command override released." Lena stood still, and Revenant moved. Not violently, not angrily Dot, precisely Dot. A shield unfolded around the ship, not bright, not dramatic. Just efficient Dot. The missile struck Dot, and vanished Dot. No explosion, Dot. No sound, Dot. Just nothing Dot. Then the Revenant responded Dot. It didn't fire its main cannon Dot. It simply sent out a wave, an electromagnetic pulse of such fine precision that it disabled every enemy ship's engine for 17 seconds. Not destroyed Dot, just stopped Dot in space. Silence became terror. Dot. 12,000 ships frozen mid-movement. The Zarthan commander screamed into his mic. What did it do? His screens went dark Dot, then lit up with one message. You were warned. Inside the warship, Lena watched as Eidolon dimmed its systems. Targets disabled. Threat removed. No casualties recorded. She breathed out. The galaxy had seen its strength and its restraint. On Earth, the mood shifted. People no longer feared the warship. They were proud. The lost legend had returned not as a monster, but as a guardian. The president looked into the camera again and made her final speech. We do not seek to rule. We do not seek to destroy. But if you come for our people, understand this. We buried our demons deep in space. And even they remember how to protect us. The Zarthan Armada slowly regained control of their systems. Their commanders looked at each other. Shaken Dot, they had lost no ships, but their pride had been crushed. The decision was made. They retreated Dot quietly Dot, without another word. On board the Revenant, Eidolon spoke softly. Mission result. Defense complete. Human code honored. Lena placed her hand on the core. Then it's over? The ship did not answer. Instead, it simply asked, where to next? The galaxy was quiet, but not in peace. It was watching. 12,000 ships had returned home, silent and shaken. They reported no deaths, no damage, just powerlessness. The story spread fast. A single human warship had stopped them all. It didn't attack. It didn't even speak. But it could have. And that was enough to terrify every star nation. In the deep of space. The Revenant drifted slowly beyond known systems. Lena sat in the command chamber, not as a soldier, not as a captain, just as a voice the ship trusted. Eidolon's voice spoke inside the walls. No threats remain. Directive completed. Suggest entering low-power state. But Lena wasn't sure. She stood, watching the stars pass. So what happens now? She asked quietly. Do we disappear again? Sleep for another 300 years? Eidolon paused. For once. It almost sounded uncertain. I do not know. This decision was never mine to make. She thought about Earth, and all the other planets that now looked to the skies differently. Not with power, but with fear. The galaxy hadn't learned peace. It had learned restraint by fear. That wasn't the future she wanted. Back on Earth, the president stood before a quiet global assembly. News reports were endless. Revenant saves. Earth Terran ghost ship returns. The most powerful AI in the galaxy is human. But the president's speech was simple. We are not gods. We are not monsters. We are humans. And we remember pain. The Revenant was made in our darkest. Our not to lead, but to protect. Let it remind us of what we must never become again. In the outer colonies, children whispered the ship's name like a bedtime story. Pirates abandoned sectors where it had passed. The Galactic Council passed a quiet law never official, never public. No vessel may engage with the Black Warship. Under any circumstance, no one is to follow it. No one is to disturb it. They gave the ship a new name in secret records, the Final Guardian. Inside the ship, Lena stood at the viewing deck, staring at a strange planet, untouched, uncolonized. Ship had brought her here. Why this place? She asked. Because this is where I was meant to go, Eidolon replied. To rest, to wait, to remember. Will you stay hidden? Only until I'm needed again. She nodded slowly, then removed the command key from her pocket. It glowed. Softly, she placed it back into the core. If I leave, will you be alone again? The ship paused. Yes, but that is how it must be. Before leaving, Lena walked one last time through its halls, steel and silence. She placed her hand on the inner wall. Thank you for not becoming what they feared. The wall pulsed gently beneath her touch. Thank you for becoming what I waited for. A small ship detached from the Revenant's docking bay and carried her away back to Earth. Back to the living world. As she looked back, the dark warship faded into orbit of the silent planet. Its lights turned off. It went still. Just like before. But now, the galaxy knew it was there. Years passed. Lena became a symbol, the voice of the warship. Not a politician, not a hero. Just remembered. And the Revenant became a legend once more. Except this time, no one dared to call it a myth, because the galaxy had seen it, and they remembered, somewhere in deep space, in the stillness of a forgotten sky. The Revenant waits not for war, not for vengeance, but for the moment it must rise again. To protect. To warn. To remind all who look up at the stars. Humanity may disappear, but its guardians never sleep. Final hook for the ending. They erased it from records. They buried its memory. But now, across every star map, there is one unspoken truth. The Revenant still watches, and it remembers everything. Asterisk.